I'm Ken Armstrong, President and CEO of North Arrow Minerals. Welcome to this quick overview of North Arrow. It's intended to provide some context and detail on a recently announced acquisition of the DeStaffany Lithium Project in the NWT, and is also a chance to provide people who are new to us with some background on who we are as a group and as a company, and also remind those that have been following us for some time that we do have a background in lithium and critical minerals exploration, so this acquisition isn't totally out of left field for us. We'll be talking about exploration, so I'm certainly going to be making some forward-looking statements, so please keep that in mind as we go through the presentation. North Arrow's been focused on diamond exploration for going on 10 years now, and we've been good at it. We've made discoveries on 5 different properties, and we continue with our evaluation of high-value, fancy yellow and orange diamonds like the ones we see here at our NAUJAAT project. Most of our work has been in northern Canada, in the NWT and in Nunavut. It's an area that we know well and where we're really comfortable exploring. So in seeing the increased interest in finding lithium deposits, we identified the opportunity to acquire the DeStaffany spodumene pegmatites and add lithium to our existing pipeline of diamond and gold properties. So North Arrow now essentially provides exposure to lithium, which is arguably the hottest exploration commodity in the market, as well as diamonds, which are the most out of favor, but are poised for a significant turnaround. As we mentioned, we have experience in lithium. It's not new to us. North Arrow explored for spodumene pegmatites in 2009, 2010 sort of time frame during the first real bump in interest in lithium as part of this global push for electrification. At the time, our properties were in the NWT and they were in Nunavut, as well as in North Carolina, where we initially assembled the land position that's now the core of Piedmont Lithium's Carolina Lithium Project. So getting into lithium isn't new, but we still maintain what we believe is a best-in-class pipeline of diamond exploration projects in Canada. We just finished a series of mining and investment conferences here in Vancouver, where it's not uncommon to hear folks say that the best time to invest is when a commodity or sector has the least amount of interest, and that's diamonds right now. And the key takeaway that I'd like for you to leave with is that this negative perception around investing in diamonds does not match the reality of the diamond business, which is now the healthiest that it's been in the last 10 to 15 years. And I also think it's important to point out that while we've been at this for about 10 years, we have 138 million shares outstanding, over 60% of which are held by insiders and key shareholders. And I think this demonstrates that North Arrow has clearly benefited from strong support, but also that we've been able to stay focused and have been careful with our exploration expenditures. We're in this to try and build a company. Our project pipeline is heavily weighted to diamonds. As you can see here, we've listed the successes that we've had in finding new kimberlites at our diamond properties, and also our Oro Hope Bay gold project that's immediately adjacent to Agnico Eagle's Doris gold mine. And then, of course, our recent acquisition of the DeStaffany Lithium property on Great Slave Lake. The DeStaffany project, is shown here in yellow, is located within the Yellowknife Pegmatite Province, where similar spodumene pegmatites are being evaluated by companies like Lift Power, Gamma Explorations, and Patriot Battery Metals. The DeStaffany property is 18 kilometers east of Vital Metals' NAUJAAT rare earth mine, a deposit that was actually discovered in the 70s by Highwood Resources, which was North Arrow Chairman Gren Thomas's first northern exploration company. And the claims are in an area that was previously explored for tantalum by Navigator, which is a predecessor company to North Arrow. So again, we're not new to this area. We were aware of these pegmatites and the acquisition cost was low, essentially the cost of staking and a retained royalty. It was staked by our partner, Panarch Resources, with whom we're still working collaboratively to identify additional spodumene pegmatite targets in the NWT and in Nunavut. As we noted in our initial news release, the property hosts the Moose 1 and the Moose 2 spodumene pegmatites. Both are located within a few hundred meters of Great Slave Lake, so really good access to both Yellowknife and also to Railhead at Hay River on the south side of Great Slave Lake. In the 90s, Navigator noted 2 additional pegmatite occurrences that lacked tantalum, so they weren't described or assayed for possible lithium mineralization. We think these pegmatites provide an indication of upside for new lithium discoveries on the property. The Moose 1 pegmatite has seen very little evaluation work because it doesn't display much indication for tantalum mineralization, which was the focus of much of the past work in the area. So it's never been drilled, but it has been mapped over a 370-meter strike length. It averages around 6 meters in width, and spodumene has been noted along much of its extent, including a historic channel sample in 2010 that returned 1.5% Li2O over 7.5 meters. The Moose 2 pegmatite, on the other hand, has seen significant past working, particularly in the 1940s and 50s when it was test mined for tantalum and niobium. It's a zone pegmatite with areas where spodumene crystals have locally been described in excess of 1 meter in length, but it has never been drilled for its lithium potential, despite significant lithium assays noted along much of its strike length. So our plans going forward here are going to include a full evaluation of the lithium potential of these pegmatites, including mapping of the spodumene contents at surface and drilling to determine the depth extent of their spodumene mineralization. And we're also going to undertake some prospecting and better characterization of the other pegmatite showings on the property and to try and find some new ones. And also, as I noted earlier, we're working with PanArc to identify new spodumene pegmatite opportunities in the NWT and Nunavut. So you should stay tuned for some news on that front. With respect to diamonds, I do want to just revisit my earlier comment that the perception around investing in diamonds, it does not match the current positive reality of the diamond business. And that positivity, it's really rooted in the fact that mines are making money due to the arrival of declining global production and increasing retail luxury jewelry demand. And this is something that's been predicted for a long time, but it's finally happening, and it's happening now. Production of natural diamonds is off by about 23% since its peak in 2017, and it's expected now to flatline through the end of the decade, if not longer, because there simply are no major diamond projects on the drawing board to come into production to increase this supply. And there's very, very few companies out there actually looking to find new diamond deposits. And on the demand side, luxury jewelry sales have been really strong coming out of the pandemic, particularly in the US, which represents about half of the global market, and had sales increases of about 50% in 2021, and they held steady through 2022. This slide shows a number of charts that I think really effectively show this retail strength. And on the left, we get to see the monthly US jewelry sales going back to 2017. And if nothing else, that chart shows just how important year-end holiday sales are to the jewelry industry. On the upper right, it shows US jewelry sales since 1971 on an annual basis. And maybe even more importantly, in the lower right, we see US diamond jewelry sales back to the turn of the century. Both of these charts clearly show this increase of about 50% in sales in 2021-22, and shows that this isn't just a COVID bounce back, but it's a significant rise in sales with respect to the long-term trend. There's uncertainty on how this is all going to look going forward, but it's important to note that this strength on the retail side has come through a period where China's remained on the sidelines under strict COVID restrictions, and so a similar bounce back has not been able to happen in this market. But for our purposes, I think it clearly shows that we need to find new diamond deposits, and North Arrow's diamond project pipeline is the best position to fill this gap. So I'm just going to quickly touch on 3 of our diamond properties. NAUJAAT, which is in Nunavut, has been our flagship project. It hosts the largest diamond resource in Canada that's not already controlled by a diamond producer. And importantly, it includes a population of very rare, high-value, fancy orangey yellow diamonds like the one that we see here. This is a 0.8 carat rough stone that came from our 2021 bulk sample that we completed with our partner Burgundy Diamond Mines. It's the biggest high quality, fancy colored diamond to be produced from this deposit so far. And it's been used as part of our cutting and polishing exercise that we're just completing and are going to be reporting on shortly. Now, we've got a number of different videos and presentations specific to NAUJAAT that are on our website and our YouTube channel. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the project, but I do want to show this photo, which I think is pretty powerful in demonstrating just how unique this situation is and why continued evaluation of this deposit makes sense. It was taken in August of 2021 of the Q1-4 kimberlite, which is the main deposit. And you can see here in the foreground, the kimberlite itself and the bulk sample pits that we collected our sample from. But you also see that there's not much there for infrastructure. There's a drill stored on site, but that's it. And the reason we don't need a camp and other infrastructure is because at the top of the photo, you can see the community of NAUJAAT and the Arctic Ocean in the background. The deposit's only 7 kilometers from our laydown area that's near the community. So we're able to work directly from town. And we're able to then be flexible with our hiring and our work schedule. And in 2021, as an example, 2/3 of our employees were community members, which had a tremendous benefit for the project since it was planned and executed during the COVID pandemic. And last spring, we were really pleased to be acknowledged for our ongoing work and engagement with NAUJAAT when North Arrow was recognized as the Company of the Year at the Nunavut Mining Symposium Award Ceremony. This award joins a similar recognition that we received in 2018. And there's some much bigger companies and projects active in Nunavut. So we're quite proud of these awards and to be acknowledged in this way twice now. And I think it shows that we're on the right track with this project, with our engagement, and then trying to get the deposit fully evaluated. A number of you will have seen this slide before as well. This project hits all the right notes you want to see for an advanced project. You can see here our bulk sample bags in August 2021. They're waiting for the annual sea lift to come to NAUJAAT so that they could be shipped south to the SRC for processing. And it highlights one of the key parts of this project, which is its location. It's in a jurisdiction in Nunavut where there's a very clear path on how to permit. It's obviously located on tidewater, and we think that has a tremendous benefit for shipping costs, where our freight costs would be about half of what they are for shipping materials to the NWT diamond mines. And it's a big deposit. Current resource only goes down to 200 meters below surface, but we've drilled the kimberlite down to 400 meters below surface, and we've remained in kimberlite down to that depth. So we know it's bigger. It has a low strip ratio, and it's a significant inventory of diamonds, even with this resource. And there's another 15 kimberlites in the property area that need to be fully evaluated. But we need to do another bulk sample here, and we know that means longer timelines, and it's just a reality when it comes to evaluating diamond deposits. And that's why last fall, as we started to map out how can we increase our news flow as a company, and that led in part to our entering the lithium space, and it also has led us to push forward with plans to get back to our PIKOO and our Loki diamond projects. Now, PIKOO is located in Saskatchewan. It was North Arrow's first major discovery of a brand new kimberlite field. And based on the diamonds that we've seen and the mineral chemistry, we know there are more discoveries to be made on this property. We're waiting on some results right now from a till sampling program that we completed last fall. And importantly, some of those samples were testing initial targets that were generated through application of a deep machine learning technology. This is the same technology and platform that was used in the discovery of 2 new kimberlites at the Acadie mine in the Northwest Territories last year. And considering that Acadie is the most heavily explored brownfields diamond property in Canada, to our minds, the new discoveries there prove that the DML concept works and that it could be a total game changer for diamond exploration in Canada. So we have till results coming from PIKOO to look forward to. And if we see any indicator minerals down ice from some of these DML features, they will immediately be added to our list of drill-ready targets on the property. Again, we've got detailed voiceover presentations on our website that describe PIKOO in more detail, and they're there if you're interested. Loki is another property where we're looking to apply the deep machine learning. It's located in the Lac de Gras area and is essentially a brownfields exploration opportunity because of that location. But it does host the last unsourced, really well-defined kimberlite indicator mineral train in the Lac de Gras area. So the application of deep machine learning could be very useful here, since it's essentially the same setting in terms of kimberlite target and host rocks as we see at Acadie, or as we're seeing at Acadie anyway. We've narrowed down the source area here. The indicator train is cut off by samples where we're seeing hundreds of indicator minerals. And it's just a matter now of coming up with a new set of targets to follow up and to drill test. So we are putting together a plan that includes funding that's going to see some ground geophysics on the property this spring. The last property I wanted to talk about is our legacy Oro gold property at Hope Bay in Nunavut, which is immediately along trend from Agnico Eagle's Doris gold mine. This property is located, if this property was located in the Abitibi or in the Red Lake, it would have been thoroughly drilled and explored by now. The property hosts the exact same rocks, the same structures, and the same styles of mineralization as we see at the Doris mine, as well as the Madrid deposit in the north part of the Hope Bay belt. So again, we've got a detailed presentation on the Hope Bay property on our YouTube channel if you're interested, but stay tuned. We continue to work on trying to get exploration active here with a new partnership. So in terms of catalysts with North Arrow, we've got a lot going on. Clearly, in the headlines right now is DeStaffany, where we want to get onto the property, conduct some mapping, some sampling and prospecting, and that would lead into a drill program. We're also looking for additional spodumene pegmatite targets that we can acquire in the Northwest Territories and in Nunavut. With our diamond properties at NAUJAAT, as I mentioned, we're just finishing our cutting and polishing exercise, which will include ideally some certification of those diamonds of the GIA, and we're looking to forward plan for the next stage of exploration there. PIKOO We're waiting on till sample results from the fall till sampling program, and that can lead to geophysics and drilling. We're fully permitted to get there. And then also at Loki, where we're also fully permitted for drilling, we're looking to pull together a program, including some funding that'll see ground geophysics happening there this spring. And lastly, at Hope Bay, looking to get across the line with an agreement that'll see gold exploration happening on that property. As many of you know, and as I say quite often, within junior exploration companies, people are critical. Our group has a lot of experience in Canada and internationally in all stages of exploration and project evaluation and development, from discovery through to production. And that's really important. And equally important, when we look at our corporate snapshot, as I mentioned earlier, we have 138 million shares outstanding. The people who are listed on that previous slide hold over 35% of those shares. And when we add our key shareholders, that increases to over 60%. So we're a dedicated group of explorationists. We have experience with lithium, we have experience with diamonds and gold, and we're now providing exposure to lithium, and we're looking for more opportunities in the space while we're also maintaining our diamond properties at a time when the diamond business is looking very strong going forward. So thanks very much for paying attention to this or listening to this presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Nick Thomas, and we look forward to keeping you informed on our developments with North Arrow going forward.